Hello everybody, still Tuesday the 11th of April, and no, I'm still not still talking, but here is really the thing, because I've already been given an understanding, and it is all over my videos and bits and pieces, and I think I really need to say it once in one video to make very clear what our starting point on going on the spiritual path should be. There needs to be an understanding. We need to know what it is we're doing. And the understanding that I got is the function of the female, which is the rational mind, which is the knowledge of what is. It is the knowledge of what has been worked in this world. Consequences. It knows consequences. It needs to see the spiritual root, but it knows the physical consequences. That is the function of the rational mind, the female. The male, the husband, the spiritual body that brings knowledge on the spiritual path. He is trying to serve her. Yeah, so she asks a question and she's been given of her husband the spiritual knowledge. But then her function is, once she receives that knowledge, to restrict it to the point where it would work in this reality. You know, more is not better. Just because you can does not mean you should. She is the mistress of the house. She's the mistress of this reality. And she's the one that rules over the servants. And it is in looking what happened before. And you've been told your rational mind is the village idiot. It cannot understand. It absolutely can. It knows. If she reasons about it long enough, she can see it. Because it is in this world and she knows this world. Yeah? So it's not a case of don't even try, you can't. Yes, you can. And you must. So again, what happened with the Messiah? The knowledge that was given to save us. It was the knowledge that was the Messiah, not Jesus. The knowledge of compassion, the knowledge of healing, the knowledge of asking and creating miracles. That knowledge was a spiritual knowledge, a knowledge of the Father, a knowledge that came out of the all, and the female should have restricted it. And it didn't. In Jesus, it didn't, because he put his rational mind out of the way. For myself, I think not. I say nothing, I just do as I'm told. There was no female there. And that is why the whole thing went belly up. There was no restriction. And that is what got me on this path to start with. There was a knowledge given of healing and of compassion. And when Jesus left this world and went to the outcome is the book of Revelation. Death and destruction all around the place. So something must have gone belly up on the way. I mean, one of the things that went wrong was obviously Rome. By distorting the understanding. By saying Jesus was the Messiah. And really, it is a conjurer's trick. Yeah? The focal point is now on Jesus, which should have been on the knowledge, because there was a knowledge that was in the Messiah. But for those of us now that have been told you should be the brides of Christ, to let that knowledge back in, to make it a reality again inside of yourself, to bring it back into this world and make it work again through you. Then be aware that you should be The purpose of the bride, is not to lie down, close her eyes, and think of queen and country. That's not her function. She is the mistress of the house. She is to direct the servants. So, this knowledge was given, and you can compare it to medicine, which is a good comparison because it was about healing. And funnily enough, the Native Americans actually call it medicine. Then it's as below, so above. We know about medicine. What Jesus did is he took a couple of tablets of compassion, and whoops, well, that worked a treat. And then he said, well, this is so great, I'll take the entire box, and in fact, I will live on nothing else. And below, we know the outcome of that. It will lead to death, which is what it did for him. He self-destructed. It made him suicidal. It was a suicide. Self-sacrifice is a form of suicide. We call it suicide in suicide bombers. We call it glorious when it is suicide crucifying, but hey. So, and there the rational mind can actually know the known side effects of overdosing on compassion. It will lead to death. So there should be a health warning. So there the rational mind should know to restrict that servant within herself, when she lets it in, when she makes it a reality. She should know to restrict it. She is that which rules over the servants. She's the mistress of the house. And that is if we are now coming into a place where we are expanding into spiritual knowledge, and we're saying put the ego out of the way, it's the village idiot. No, she is the mistress of the house. She rules over the servants, and she must restrict the servants to what amount, when should this be worked, so that it is actually of service, and not overdose on it where it becomes destructive. And that, I think, is something that humanity has gotten wrong for a long, long time. When knowledge came on the spiritual path, and we fell flat on our face and worshipped, oh, it's so great, it is from somewhere else, it's so much bigger than us, we must become the fullness of that. No. The bride of Christ is the mistress of the house. She lets it in. She makes it a reality in her garden. And she must restrict to which amount it should be there, so that it is of service, so that it is life-giving. And if there's too much, she must weed it out. That is the function of the rational mind. And that is actually then that Adam and Eve will look at each other and know each other. They know what they're doing. Eve is asking the question, Adam will bring the answer. But probably, whoosh, this is all of it. And then she must restrict it to which amount it will actually work in her reality. That's her function. And we need to understand that before we even get onto the spiritual path. Because what Jesus taught, what he taught was actually wrong, and it led to destruction. He put his rational mind out of the way, and that is not what should happen. She is not the willing. She is not the servant. She is not the one that needs to take it all in and do according to it. She is the mistress of this reality. And she needs to rule over the servants. Right, I leave it at that. That is what we need to understand. And we can't understand it out of seeing what went wrong in that story. That is correcting what happened before. Making a correction. Seeing what went wrong and making a correction so we have a new foundation from which to go. And then, yes, become the bride of Christ. By all means, I think we should resurrect that knowledge inside of us. Make it a reality again. But we need to be the masters of it. The rational mind needs to be the master of it. And not the servant. The servant is the knowledge that was given. You are the master. Anyway, I leave it at that. I'll talk to you again soon. Bye.